Welcome or welcome back. My name is Tab and I love to talk about books. So this video is kind of going to be something a little bit different than what I think I would normally do. Goodreads came out with a Reader's 84 Most Anticipated Books of Spring list, and I think I'm going to kind of curate a little spring TBR. I am usually not a TBR maker. I very much mood read, or it's basically whatever comes in from my library, I end up having to read. But this I thought would be a good way to kind of know of the new releases coming out and to give myself maybe a little guideline, not to be super strict about it, but to give me some ideas and maybe open up my genres that I tend to gravitate towards and try out something new. So there are quite a few genre categories. There's 84 books. I'm not going to go into all of the books, but what I am going to do is take maybe 2 or 3 books from each category and go over kind of the short blurb about what they are. And I will leave a link in the description box of the website that has all 84 books. So if you want to go check it out and see if there's any books on there that you want to add to your TBR. I Leave It Up to You by Jinwoo Chang. That is a book that I cannot wait to read. It's already out. It came out on March 4th, but I am just waiting for one of my local libraries around me to actually purchase the book so that I can get it. If not, I may probably have to go and see if it's in Barnes & Noble because I want to read this book so bad. It follows a New Yorker, Jack Jr., who has just awoken from a 2-year coma to find that his world has changed forever. In the spirit of second chances, Jack returns to his family's sushi restaurant to find new opportunities for life and love. So basically, I believe he was supposed to take over the family's sushi restaurant and then he went into a coma. So his dad wanted to retire, and now that he's waken up from a coma, he left the sushi restaurant and moved away, and now he's moving back there, and I think it's just going to stir up a whole bunch of stuff. Tilt by Emma Pate. This is just so interesting. I've come to find that I like books that are based just on 24 hours. It's one single day. And I think my love of that came from watching The Pit on, HBO. It's I think it's 15 episodes, and it's the Pittsburgh Emergency Department trauma area, and each episode is 1 hour long. So it's basically the whole season is just 15 hours, one ER shift. Oh my God, it's so good. And I find that I really like books like that too. So this book, Tilt, is when a massive earthquake levels Portland, Oregon. 9 months pregnant Annie must reach home on foot across the ruined city. As she reflects on her unsteady marriage and ponders her uncertain future, Annie encounters other survivors with their own stories to tell. And this is a debut novel, and it delivers a groundbreaking hybrid of survival, adventure, and character portrait. The last book for this genre that I hopefully will be able to read this spring is My Friends by Frederick Backman. He has published a ton of books that everyone raves about, and I haven't read anything from him. So this one begins in a lonesome seaside town with the story of 4 teenage friends. But by the end, readers have been on a journey that spans the breadth of a country and the passing of 25 long years. This one comes out May 20th. And I just said I love books that are in, one day. The whole book is just one day. But I also love books that span a huge chunk of time. I love epilogues that are 20, years into the future. And this is just seeing, it is pivotal with teenagers growing up into adulthood. how much they change. And I'm sure this is filled with lots of like friendship drama. This I had a really hard time narrowing down just to like two or three because there are so many good mystery and thrillers coming out this spring. But I have to say, I've already read this book. I had it as an e-arc. You Killed Me First by John Mars. It was such a good book. I enjoy anything that John Mars publishes. So definitely looking at the synopsis of that, it's very much like Desperate Housewives, but gone terribly wrong. There's frenemies, there's bonfires. It has a lot going on. And then, okay, so the first one I want to read is Count My Lies by Sophie Strava. And this deals with a compulsive liar nanny and wealthy New Yorkers. Who doesn't like that? This Book Will Bury Me by Ashley Winstead. This one is after her father's sudden death, grieving college student Jane Sharp falls into the strange and dangerous subculture of online serial killer hunters. Oh my God. This one comes out March 25th. It's just such a different like setup. This is nothing that I would ever do. I don't even listen, watch, deal with any like true crime things. So people who are so interested in like serial killers and death and stuff, I don't understand it, but I do kind of like reading about these people that go on like hunts for things. The Perfect Divorce by Geneva Rose. I enjoy all of her books. This book comes out April 15th, and it is about a defense attorney, Sarah Morgan, finds herself in another potentially deadly situation concerning her ex-husband, her new husband, some surprising DNA evidence, and yet another missing mistress. Girl, she just needs to be by herself for a little bit. And then there's, of course, this wouldn't be a list without a Frida book, The Tenant by Frida McFadden. And this is about Blake Porter, who has a problem. Recently fired from his high-end executive position, he's about to lose the mortgage on his proportionately expensive brownstone. So when a charming young woman asks to rent a room, he's delighted until the noises start, until the graveyard stench. She pumps out books so quick. I have no idea. It's not like she has like a framework and she like, Hallmark movies, they're all the same. It's just different character names and settings. Like all of her books seem to be just so ridiculous and out there than the next, but they're all like different. I am so excited. Usually I read her books in like one sitting. I am not a huge fantasy reader. I love romantasy. I like the idea of fantasy. I just cannot read books that are solely just world building and magic systems. I need some type of like romance or something that's going to like keep me interested, because with fantasy books, I find it like very hard to understand what's going on until I'm like 300 or 400 pages in. So I do know, I have not read any of her books, but her name is Olive Blake, Olivie Blake. I always thought her name was Olivia Blake. Anyway, she has a book, Gifted and Talented, that comes out on April 1st. And I guess it brings the story of a wealthy and powerful family, 3 gifted kids, and by gifted we mean telepathic. They grow into 3 damaged adults, each competing for their father's fortune. Sibling dynamics and electrokinetic powers equals pyrotechnic fun. So this reminds me of like a fantastical version of like Succession. And then the other book that I am interested in picking up is The Devils by Joe Abercrombie. And I know this is probably, what is it, Dude Bro Fantasy or Dude Fantasy? I have never read anything by this author. I know he's in the likes of like Brandon Sanderson, but this just seems so interesting. I also find that I think I have a thing with like convents and nunneries and like religious entities, but necessarily not when they're doing good things. This one is about holy man, Brother Diaz, has been issued an impossible directive from his bosses in the sacred city. To pull it off, he's going to need help from his new congregation, a rogues gallery of criminals, vampires, necromancers, and werewolves. I don't know why, but this just, I can't wait to read this one. And I'm going to throw this one in because I just absolutely love the idea of it. I don't know if I'm going to read it. I'm not really big into books about culinary, but it is called Aftertaste by Daria Lavelle, and it is basically about a New York City chef who can taste the presence of ghosts and reunite the bereaved with their loved ones. This innovative take on urban fantasy promises to be kind of synthetic experience itself, crossing evocative food writing with New York City culinary drama, percolating romance in a new kind of ghost story. This comes out May 20th, and I think I would really have to be in the mood to pick this up and read, but it sounds so interesting. Like she can taste ghosts, like randomly, or does she have to be like eating some type of food? We'll never know unless we read. This book is actually waiting for me to pick up at my library. The Dream Hotel by Layla Leilami. This one is very interesting. I guess it's speculative fiction in a near future surveillance state where tech corporations have even annexed our dream lives. Who's watching the watchers? So it's basically people are monitoring your dreams. I think that is so very interesting. Dissolution by Nicholas Binge is another one I am interested in picking up. It says, while caring for her elderly husband, Maggie Webb meets a stranger with a question. What if your husband isn't losing his memories? What if they're being stolen? With the mysterious stranger and his high-tech devices, Maggie takes a journey into her husband's mind. Oh my God, this sounds so good. And then the last one in this category is The Memory Collectors by Deet Meserve. And this is about a groundbreaking news tech company offers people the chance to revisit the most pivotal moments of their own past, but just for an hour and just as an observer. Unfortunately, as four strangers soon discover, there are still a few bugs in the system. Oh my God, this one comes out May 20th. I'm definitely thinking that like sci-fi just interests me so much and I really don't read enough of it. The Unworthy by Augustina Bazterrica. This is a book in translation and it follows a desperate woman trapped in the convent of a violent religious order. See, I'm like into this. Why can't she remember her previous life? The formidable Argentine author, this author, takes on the really scary stuff, climate collapse and humankind's own tenacious demons who seem to come back again and again. This one is already out. And the only other one, like I said, horror is not something that I read. I maybe read one or two horror books a year. Is The Staircase in the Woods by Chuck Wendig. And this is a wild ride. Like the cover of this book is just so insane. I guess on a fateful camping trip, 5 high school friends discover a staircase in the middle of a forest. One of them goes up but never comes down, and the staircase disappears. Cut to 20 years later, the staircase is back. So is the friend. Pretty good, right? Oh my, it sounds so compelling. Literally every book on this list is on my TBR, so I'm not going to go into huge detail, and all of these I'm sure you've heard about or they're also on your TBR too. So Wild Side by Elsie Silver, I actually have that in from the library. I'm going to be reading that relatively soon. Say You'll Remember Me by Abby Jimenez. This one comes out April 1st. Flirting Lessons by Jasmine Guillory. That comes out April 8th. Great Big Beautiful Life by Emily Henry. That comes out April 22nd. One Golden Summer by Carly Fortune. That comes out May 6th. Can't Get Enough by Kennedy Ryan. I always call her Ryan Kennedy. It's so bad. That book comes out May 13th. And The Love Haters by Catherine Center. That comes out May 20th. I want to read every single one of those. There's not one book in that category that I am like, no. This is also another genre that I pretty much love every book in here. The first one is Enchantra by Kaylee Smith. This is the second book in Phantasma, and it follows the younger sister Genevieve. She gets entangled with a handsome rich boy and his family's homicidal games. Think dark romance with an enemies to lovers arc and a goth kick. And I believe this is set in Italy. And then the other book is The Night in the Moth by Rachel Gillig. I read One Dark Window, and I have the second book, Two Twisted Crowns, and that's part of a duology. I cannot wait to finish that and start this new book. This is, I don't know if this is in a series or if it's a standalone, but this one comes out May 20th, and Sybil Delling is a diviner. Destined since childhood to receive visions from the otherworldly entities known as omens. When her fellow seers start to vanish mysteriously, Sybil teams up with the knight Roderick, a heretic but an uncommonly handsome one. Ooh. Our Infinite Fates by Laura Stevens. This one it came out on March 4th, so it's already out. This is about Evelyn and Arden. They have loved each other over and over for thousands of lifetimes. That's the nice part. The bummer, they're also fated to kill each other over and over one way or another. It's a pickle, all right. This just seems it's fantasy, romance, YA, wanders back through the centuries by way of alternating chapters in extended flashbacks. I cannot wait to read that one. And also Sunrise of the Reaping comes out, which is the installment of the Hunger Games. I haven't and have no plans to read the Hunger Games, but I know that's a super popular one. And then Fearless by Lauren Roberts. Can we take a minute? This is the third book in the trilogy, and I am so sad. I read the first book. I have the second book here waiting for me, Reckless, and I cannot wait until April 1st so I can get Fearless. Like I said, this is the third book, and it's pretty much closing up Kai and Peyton's journey, which I hope it ends well. And it says get ready for the TV series. So at some point, probably in 25 or 26, they're going to have a TV series come out. And then Watch Me by Tahara Mafi. This is from the author of Shatter Me. I have not read that series, but I believe it's set around 10 years after the fall of the reestablishment. The book follows younger brother James Anderson as he infiltrates the prison on Ark Island. Also on hand, Rosabelle Wolfe, a pitiless assassin linked with a powerful synthetic intelligence. This one comes out April 15th. And then the last one in this genre is The Thrashers by Julie Soto. I don't know if she doesn't. The debut YA novel. She does romance, not a love story, not a love song. I absolutely love that book, and that's why the name sounds familiar. Okay, so this is her debut YA novel, and it's a mystery thriller concerning a series of strange occurrences at a local high school. It seems the popular clique known as the Thrashers has come under suspicion when a student dies of an apparent suicide, but persistent weirdness suggests something even more sinister. And that one comes out May 6th. Free, My Search for Meaning by Amanda Knox. This book, I remember Amanda Knox and all of the speculation swirling about this case. So she famously spent 4 years in an Italian prison and 8 more on trial for a murder she didn't commit. In this memoir, it follows her previous 2013 book, Waiting to Be Heard, and covers her years of incarceration, her painful integration into society, and her attempts to live something like a normal life today as an author and activist. Notes to John by Joan Didion. This sounds interesting to me. I love books about like notes or notes that were found. This comes out April 22nd, and it says shortly after Didion's death in 2021, her trustees found a diary the famed author kept from her sessions with her psychiatrist towards the end of her life. These entries, which were discovered in a folder addressed to her late husband, are now the subject of one of literary world's most anticipated nonfiction books of the season. This is so compelling to me, and I hope it's in like letter format, maybe not the whole thing, but some of it, because I feel that really breaks up nonfiction when you have a different type of media in the book instead of just words. And the last book in this genre that I may hopefully pick up is Everything is Tuberculosis by John Green. Now, I know he was the author of The Fault in Our Stars, and he has a bunch of books out. But when I first heard that he was the author of this, I was wondering, like, is this about tuberculosis, the like medical condition, or is this is tuberculosis called like a constellation or something? I did not know that he wrote nonfiction, but it sorts through literally centuries of scientific, medical, and social history. Okay, he tracks the wreckage of tuberculosis, the world's deadliest curable disease. Green asks some uncomfortable questions about injustice and inequity in global healthcare. See, I'm all about this. I will probably move that up to the front. And I read less nonfiction than I read horror. Nonfiction, it's just so, I've tried reading it or listening to it on audiobook, and I just get so distracted. I don't know. Now, let me know if you plan to have any of these books on your TBR, and don't forget to check out the link in the description that has the full list of all 84 books. Thank you, as always, for spending a portion of your day with me, and I can't wait to talk to you in my next video. Bye.